Okay, thank you. Welcome everyone. This is the State Building Code Council Executive Committee for February 18th, 2025. And we'll start with roll, please.
Council Chair Todd Bayworther.
Here.
Council Vice Chair Jay Arnold.
Here.
Thank you. MVPE Committee Chair Damon Doyle.
Here.
BFRW Committee Chair Roger Haringa.
Here.
And Legislative Committee Chair Tom Handy. He said he wasn't be able to make this one. He might pop in right at the very end, but I think he's got other stuff going on, so he's not with us right now. But with that, we have a quorum today.
Okay. And we'll also entertain any one from the public that would like to be recognized. Go ahead, Greg.
Greg Johnson with the Vista.
Patrick?
Yes, thank you. This is Patrick Hanks with the Building Industry Association of Washington.
Thank you, Patrick.
Tim Atterbury, Associated General Contractors of Washington.
Welcome, Tim. Anyone else? We've got a short list here. Okay, seeing no other, we'll move into agenda item 2 to review and approve the agenda. I'll just note we called this executive committee meeting to try to prepare for Friday. So we're going to attempt to get our agenda and other things in line before our Friday meeting here. So with that, can we hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved. Second.
I think that was Roger and then Jay. Okay, with that, is there anything you'd like to add or move around? Okay, if not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hold on, I'm trying to.
Yeah, go ahead, Damon.
I'm trying to raise my hand, but oh, there it is. Hey.
You could have just said something. All right, Damon.
I would like to move to strike item 9. I understand this came out of the Energy Code Tag meeting on Friday. Those minutes are not up yet on YouTube. I haven't been able to review the meeting, but as I understand the motion, it was to send this question to the council, not the exec committee. I spoke with Tom briefly last night. Tom's got he's in a county council meeting at the exact same time this morning, 10 to noon. But he definitely has some input on this, pardon me. And so if we could strike item 9 and bring it up at the council meeting. In fact, I would almost be in favor of moving it to the March meeting because I think this is a big topic the public's going to want to put input in.
Yeah, Damon, thank you for that. So the intent is to talk about it today and bring it forward and strategize for Friday and the future council meeting. So it's really an introduction. We're not going to get into the deep merits of this and take a lot of take public comment on the merits of this. So I think I'd prefer that we keep it on there so we have this conversation, but by no means are we taking action on this item today, in my opinion. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Thank you.
And if we're not taking action, perhaps a modification to the agenda to remove committee action from item 9.
That's a good suggestion. Well, unless the committee action is simply to make the recommendation but that can be captured in item 10 for the agenda on Friday. So is that a motion then?
Yes, so moved.
I mean, amendment. Yeah.
Second.
Okay. Just, I don't know, Dustin, are you able to edit this or is this a PDF?
I can remove that.
Okay. Any other discussion on that item? Okay. With that, then let's just go to the original motion as amended on the screen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the agenda as amended is adopted. Item 3 then is to review and approve the minutes from November 6, 2024. Do we have those, Dustin?
Yes, we do. Give me one moment.
I have reviewed them and would move to approve the minutes from the November 6th.
Thank you, David.
Second.
Second by Jay.
Okay, should see the minutes now. Let me make them visible.
Okay. Any edits? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Todd, hang on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
Roger,
a-
go ahead. Sorry, I
I-
didn't see your.
I
I'll
was
slow
trying,
down.
I also was trying to grab my button. On item 5, other business. I was unclear what ad hoc tag was discussed. And is that the ad hoc tags in general? Like, all right, here's the options available to us to form ad hoc tags or special tags. And Todd, there's 2 references. They're referred to differently in our bylaws. 2 options. I guess I would ask for clarity if anybody remembers what that conversation was about.
Let me run back to my notes on that.
While he's looking, I just think that, even on our agenda today, it is, we're talking about tags and committees and who's leading them. And I think it's important for us to be clear on what action was taken or what the discussion was around item 5.
Yeah, and Roger, I think part of your question there is we've used this term ad hoc tag in a couple of cases here. One where we self-formed the ad hoc tsunami tag, and in this case where it's a mandated technical advisory group, and we gave it that term ad hoc. But to your point, in our bylaws, I'm not sure we don't have a section on ad hoc tags. We have ad hoc committees, right?
And I was not clear, is that referring to the single exit multiplex tag? Was that the discussion that we had? Or was it a more general discussion about?
Well, we're going to see if my memory lines up with Dustin's notes. My memory is perhaps I or others asked about the schedule of that single exit multiplex tag, but let's see if that's correct with Dustin here.
Yeah, my notes aren't super huge on it, but we did discuss not just ad hoc tags, but the single exit multiplex housing tag. And I believe we looked at the schedule on that, but I'd have to go back and review some more on that one to give more.
Because these minutes are held in perpetuity, I would ask for discussion as held on ad hoc tag makeup or configuration. Add the word configuration to that. And their scope and purpose and the application process. So it is clear that we talked about a general discussion about ad hoc tags and there wasn't action taken.
Okay. That
Thank you.
conflict with everyone's memory. Okay. Anything else? Okay, now with that, all those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so approved. Thank you. So agenda item 4 is for public comment on items not on the agenda. Does anyone from the public like to address the committee? Okay, not seeing any hands. We'll move on to agenda item 5, which is the BRFW Codes Correlation Committee. Roger or Dustin, you're going to lead this? This is recapping some of our discussion from Friday, correct?
Yes, sir. So on this one, I hoping Roger will take a little bit more lead on this one, but we're looking to do the correlation work that's been called for in the group 1 codes to date. There's been small amounts of correlation, but there's been comments that there's additional correlation needed. It's been pointed out that in the past, a codes correlation committee or technical advisory group was voted on by the council. And so the discussion here today is to discuss a codes correlation committee for the BFRW committee to act as that committee, and then moving forward. And so I would turn over to Roger to maybe expound a little bit.
Sure. I was not necessarily prepared for myself to lead this conversation, but I will do my best. Trying to figure out, I had put together my thoughts. So the group 1 process, I think that it's my hope is that we can be real clear on a path forward for the group 1 code change proposals. And I think clarity both for the public as well as clarifying where we're at in the process moving forward, it will be important for everybody. So going back, and Todd, I'm doing this off of my head. So if I miss something, jump in. So all of the code change proposals were submitted. And I will even add deemed complete by the staff. They were considered by the tags. The tags moved them on up to the tags approved the ones that are in our current list. That approved list went to the standing committees and were then passed up to the council. The council at the last meeting made a motion to move those approved towards CR 102. And I believe that that was the wording that was in the motion, was move them towards CR 102, which is meant to include the preparation. The staff can start preparing the CR 102s for any of those proposals that don't need additional work. The standing committees were asked to identify any code change proposals that fall under one of 3 things. Number 1 was need more correlation, which I will talk about a little bit. Number 2, proposals that we are aware of that there is a desire for additional public comment, public work. There are 2 main ones. Both of those proposals were talked about at length at the tags. They were approved by the tag, but we understood, the final version was approved right at the very end. We understood that there was a desire for the public to have more public input. And then 3 was needing additional economic work, economic impact or small business impact work. What was talked about at the at our BFRW committee meeting was, I guess I will go through these in reverse order. For the economic impact or small business impact, there is a work group on economic impact that this body has to form, and that body has to do their work. That work will include looking at the economic impact information for all of those proposals. Many of them, the economic impact will be as provided by the proponents, will be reviewed and accepted and said, okay, yeah, this makes sense. There are proposals that will require some level of additional economic impact. And I'm not going to stand here and say which. I know those, which of those there are. So that work group on economic impact will then need to go through and do their work to provide as much economic analysis and small business analysis as we are required as a council to do. So the BFRW committee last week flagged a couple of those where the economic impact we feel is needed sooner rather than later, so that we can, as a BFRW, we can continue to have conversations about those proposals and decide, so that our group can make a decision on how to move forward. And the easiest one as an example is the EV charging. There are 3 proposals. I am going to couch them as, and I see Patrick's hand up, they might be slightly different, but at least 2 of them are identical. It's just we're changing a percentage from, we're either lowering it, we're keeping as it is, or we're raising it. Percentage of EV charging ready. So the economic impact for those is important for us as a group to make a decision. So what we're asking the work group, what the BFRW is asking the work group on economic impact to do, is to put that at the top of their list and try to get that information so that we can make an informed decision. The second group is proposals that need additional public input. And those are also, there are a few smaller ones. The EV charging is one. And then number 118, which is the embodied carbon appendix proposal. We know that there are a number of people that would like additional input on those. The additional public input in past, at least in my experience in the past code cycle, the standing committees had a fair amount of leeway to make changes as they saw fit after the tags had done their work. That information was, or that process was part of the concern that was raised in the new law and the RCW. So what our goal is on the standing committees is to be as open as possible. And yes, there is further work and consideration going on around a couple of these proposals. We want that to be open, and we want the public to be able to participate in that prior to the final filing of the CR 102. The correlation committee, so the third group of proposals is those that need additional correlation. There was work done on some proposals during the tag process where there was a joint meeting between the building and the fire codes. There was agreement on modifications to proposals. Those proposals then went back to both the fire code tag and the building code tag. And both of those tags approved the agreed upon version. So the discussion at our BFRW committee meeting was that those had already done the correlation. Any correlation that was needed for those proposals was complete and had been approved by the tags. There are a handful of other proposals that still need to have some correlation done. So there is a requirement, need, I guess maybe is the better word, to create a correlation committee, and the makeup and the who creates that committee and who belongs to that committee was talked about, and we did not make a decision. In fact, I'm not sure if the BFRW is the right group to make that decision. So that's why we decided to bring it up with the executive committee. So Todd, I think that couches the challenge and the description. I think the ask of this committee is, number one, and there's two things that I would love to have come out of this. I want the process to be really clear for this group, for the full council, and for the public of, okay, here's what we're doing as a council in response to the new legislation. We are trying to do our best to move these proposals forward in a transparent manner with the ability for the public to continue to have input. And secondly, we need to clarify and confirm both the makeup of the work group on economic impact, which might be further down in the agenda, I think, and who the formation of the correlation committee, who's on it, given the bylaws, I think is where the information probably is located. It may very well be the executive committee that needs to or should form that committee. And the way that we left that conversation at the BFRW is that committee may be a group of building code tag chairman or something. So I'm going to call it a group of 5 or 6 tag chairs or something along those lines, with the full understanding that when we're going to do a correlation, we are going to recruit and get additional members of various tags to attend and participate. So for instance, there may be members from both the building code tag and the fire code tag that are part of that correlation committee meeting. The actual committee may be a smaller group, and that committee is really just there to vote and do the official approval of the final versions. So Todd, I think that outlines my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, well done. Thank you, Roger. And Patrick, I'll get to you in a second here. I think we would all add on to there. So the point you just made is the important part for today. So our bylaws contemplate what the work group on economic impact is. So again, that's made up of the tag chairs. This is another committee, and that's the discussion today is for BFRW and for MEP, the MVP, I'm sorry. Should those be separate co-correlation committees formed by the tag chairs, as Roger discussed with, and then bring in other members, but not necessarily have those voting, the need for having those voting rights. Ultimately, it's going to be forwarded to the MVP or the MVP So the other thing I'll add to what happened on Friday is, what we have done differently this time is we've brought the petitions that were done in the tags forward. There was recommendations, and usually, at least in the IBC tag, I always framed that as this is a recommendation for adoption by the full council. So now the standing committee, the BRFW in this case, received those, and we wanted to take the formal step to take those petitions and move them all the way up to the council for full visibility and get direction from the council on what to do with them and how to conduct the additional work that needs to happen, and also direct the staff to start moving them into CR 102 in that June-July timeline. I know there's a little confusion from the public on that, but we want to keep saying that over and over again until that's kind of reinforced that that's what we did. We kind of capped off that petition process. And then now the BRFW is and we push it back down the standing committee to identify the additional work that needs to be done. We know every petition has to go to the work group on economic impact. That's an important step. And then additionally, we have this correlation process. And we want to use the opportunity to conduct as much public process on the ones that need more work. So I think that's the other thing to keep reinforcing, is that even when we go into the CR 102 process, we're moving into more public process out of the tags. And so this is an opportunity on some of those that need more definition before we move to CR 102 to do that work. So I hope that helped. The question before the executive committee is on the correlation committee. We propose that would be a special committee under our bylaws, and that special committees can be formed by either the chair of the council or the chair of the standing committee. So in this case, it would be the chair of the standing committee, and then And Damon, this would be a question for you. Is this align with the way you'd like to see this happen when we get to the MVPE, petitions, right?
We discussed this about a year and a half ago, wondering if this should be a standing committee. I think it was stated that ICC has some sort of codes correlation committee. Is that correct? So that, one group can compare the other groups. Oh, we're doing that sort of thing. Yeah, I think wherever there's overlap, we should have some kind of consensus. So I'd be happy to participate however you want me to.
And Damon, I think you raised a point, because what we remembered on Friday was there was official council action. And I think in that council action, was that from October to someone else's memory? The council was moved forward on this code correlation, but I think we called it a tag, and we probably shouldn't have. We probably should have called it a correlation committee, and then within our bylaws. So maybe that's one thing we're doing today, is trying to clarify on that also, that action. And if we need to bring some of the council, fine, let's do that on Friday and get it cleaned up.
If I could ask one thing, Dustin, what kind of added staff time does this take? Where you're looking for example, at everything coming out of the energy tag compared to the building tag, compared to the fire tag, and looking for correlation. Is that a full-time position?
I don't think it's necessarily a full-time position for any particular staffer. As we're doing this, I see it as a need, and so we would have to dedicate some time to doing it. We're struggling with the volume of what we have going on, the timelines that we're trying to maintain to meet the December 1st and December 15th deadlines for having our rulemaking complete. And so it'd be added stress, but I also don't think it's going to be a ton of meetings. So I'm hoping that we could get one correlation group meeting scheduled and done in maybe 2 to 3 hours, especially with the amount of proposals that were identified on Friday. There wasn't a ton of them, and so I'm hopeful that we could get that done in one meeting and bring that back to the next regularly scheduled committee meetings in March.
Okay, and just for clarification, is that group looking to comb through all of the codes and look for possible duplication or conflict? Or is it going item by item based upon proposals?
If I can answer that, and Damon, what I've skipped over a little bit in my summary because I was not prepared. The process that the BFRW committee put in place last Friday was most of our meeting last Friday was spent going through those proposals. Between Dustin and those members that were on our meeting, including Micah, we flagged any proposals that we know need additional correlation. So there were a handful of those. We also wanted to open that up to the public. So if anybody from the public is aware of, and again, this is in my brain, I was thinking Micah or Ken Brulette saying, oh yes, proposal number whatever needs some additional correlation. So we leave that open for another month, or I think that we set the date of March 7th at the meeting for the public or anybody to say, to flag additional code change proposals that need correlation. My thinking is there are a handful, and I would assume that it would be one meeting for the BFRW that we are currently aware of. I'm not sure when you get into the energy code if that would be a broader, more expansive meeting process. I'm not sure.
We did front load a lot of this, Damon, in the IBC and IFC tags. I mean, those groups are pretty on top of it. We had a couple joint meetings already to try to address this, but.
Okay, so it sounds like the tag is where is the genesis of any action that they're going to say, hey, this proposal potentially conflicts with the IBC.
Yeah, but we're bringing it up. We brought it up to the council, back down to the standing committee, and now the standing committee can grab those and there are multiple tag members that already want to be part of this. We're just not saying the whole tags have to be part of that. There are code correlation people that want to participate in that process. Yeah.
Damon, I wanted to clarify what you just said. My understanding is it is the standing committee that is managing that. We are putting it open to the public or members from the tags to identify those proposals that need correlation. But it is the standing committee that will manage that correlation.
Yeah.
And I think then we would, and this is where the question today comes in, is I think according to our bylaws, myself as the BFRW committee chair could form the correlation tag, but I didn't feel like a committee, right? And I want to this committee versus tag is I think important given the modifications to the RCW, because there are limitations put on tags. This is meant to be a correlation committee. So Dustin, I would like to, and Patrick, I understand your hands up and I'm sure you want to comment, but I would like to get the bylaws up if we could, so we could look at exactly how we can form this correlation committee, who can call it. I don't want to be the person do it. I would like input from I'm fine officially doing it, but I want the full executive committee to say, yes, do this tag, or committee, committee.
And while you bring that up, Patrick, do you want to make a comment on our process here today?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to clarify something that Roger had said. The staff had said in tag meetings when the completeness of proposals was brought up that they did not review the group 1 proposal specifically for completeness. So I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Yes, correct. That's their process when they receive petitions, is a screening of completeness of the application or the petition. And then the petitions that were recommended by the tags went to the standing committee, and so we're getting there. Okay, so Roger, what you're referring to here, these are our bylaws, and what we've been combing through to make sure we're doing this correctly is under Article 3. You're seeing right here. If you scroll up just a little bit, Dustin, just to kind of ground everybody in, this is where this section of our bylaws establishes our standing committees, and so Article 3 right there. Council standing committees, executive committee, which we're in now, legislative committee. Scroll down a little bit, please. BRFW, MVPE. Now we're talking about these 2 special council committees or ad hoc committees. Those are 2 different things technically. What we're proposing here is a special council committee that has this direct purpose, and it can be appointed by the council. I assume this means council chair or standing committee chair, but let me know if you have a different interpretation. The alternative pathway would be the ad hoc, where the chair with the concurrence of the council forms a special task. But I think the question becomes to the 2 standing chairs here, is the special council committee the most appropriate, because that can be appointed by the standing committee chair. So go ahead, Damon.
Thank you. I was going to ask Krista, clearly in the past, there's been a code proposal or a code amendment out of one group that affected another group. How has this been dealt with over the past 10, 20 years?
The proposal in question was sent to the other tag for their input on it, and they would reply back to the originating tag, who would then do their deliberations and make a determination on it. And depending on how things work, they typically just assign staff to fix it.
Okay, so in your history, we've never had a committee established to do this work.
No.
Okay. And I'm not opposed to having a committee do this. It seems to me that, since all codes filter through either the BFRW or the MVPE, that maybe independently they can handle any conflicts. There could be codes that cross over to both committees too as well. I don't know how frequently this happens. Maybe this is a one meeting per code cycle. I just wanted to be clear where these conflicts are identified. If they're identified in the tags, or if it's that council's job to comb through all code language to find any potential conflicts. And it sounds like they're generated from the tags when a perceived conflict exists.
Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, Damon, I would, number one, I am aware, I think that there are some fire and mechanical. There's a few things that I think we need to make sure that there's some correlation that going on, including one of the current proposals, I believe. In my opinion, Dustin and the staff did a very good job as we were going through all of the group one proposals, flagging the, does the proposal impact building code, fire code, mechanical code? So the process we did last Friday was any proposal that impacts multiple codes, automatically we talked about at the standing committee meeting. Some of those we determined, all right, the correlation has already been done. Others, we are aware there is additional correlation. So yes, it needs to be, it is through the tag process and the staff, and then it's the standing committee that first identifies and figures out what those code change proposals are that need correlation, and then manages it. And I will, your comment about what has been done in the past, I have been aware of multiple times when people have expressed displeasure with that correlation process, and why don't we have a full-time correlation committee that's sole purpose is to do that, to do this correlation. That would be a further conversation. My understanding of the BFRW Group 1 proposals, if we form this correlation committee, it will be one meeting. We will go through a handful of proposals and make sure that correlation occurs. And then I guess the one other point that we should bring up is that standing committee then would make any modifications to those proposals so that they are correlated correctly. And then send the modified proposal up to the council. In my opinion, and this is maybe for further conversation from everybody, there isn't a requirement that has to go back down to the tag and back up. That I think is just a process that is, takes a whole lot of time. The correlation committee will be a group of tag chair people. And we will have representative members of the tags at the meeting and participating. So I guess that would be another point of clarification, is just the process of what happens. The standing committee identifies correlation required. They send it to a correlation committee. The correlation committee sends it back to the standing committee, and the standing committee sends it to the council.
Yep. That's my understanding also, Roger.
I support that.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that captured our intent here today. So if there's an action, it would be to Roger's question of, if this is the desire, then do we form this at the council level or at the standing committee level? And I leave it to the two chairs to, or to anyone, but I mean, what would you prefer?
Being somebody that has come from the private sector and is learning about the process questions of working in a government or quasi-government organization, I like to just make decisions and move forward. So I would love to just make that correlation committee as the standing committee chair. However, I don't want to be presumptuous, and I would almost prefer, to have that the support of at least the executive committee in that process. So
Okay, go ahead, Jay. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, given how I read the special council committees, the way that that's been used in the past has been subcommittees of the tag. This sounds like something like that, and the more that it just happens within standing committee chairs, I think that's entirely appropriate for what we're talking about for correlation, especially given that recommendations coming out of that are going to be things that the full council is the one that's making decisions on. But so I've got no objections to Roger's thought of just moving forward under the standing committee chair's authority.
Yeah. Thank you. Damon?
I guess my only question is, when is the proper time for this committee to meet? Do we need to wait till all the tag work is done?
Well, in this case, for group one, it is done. So the petitions have already moved forward, and now we're looking at the entire group one for correlation. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So are we looking at a committee of Roger and I, and then anybody else who wants to participate?
Well, I think that is the question, David. They don't necessarily have to be the same. They could be the two standing committees form basically their code correlation, and then we come together as needed. So we don't necessarily have to include, both standing committees in, but you could.
So theoretically, then we could, as a committee chair, part of our agenda items are to look for any items needing correlation.
And most likely you'll be grabbing tag members that already, are raising these concerns. Okay. Like on the fire side, Ken Brulette has, absolutely expressed interest in that. But others like Micah, who are not on a tag, I don't think, would be raising some of those concerns too. Yeah.
If I may, for clarity, my proposed correlation committee, and Dustin, this is, or Damon, this is up for your comment, but I would form a special correlation committee for the group one BFRW code change proposals, which would include the tag chairman. So currently that would be Todd, Dan, BFR residential, Angela, and Katie. So those four people would be the correlation committee that would be formed to review the correlation required for the group one BFRW proposal, code change proposals, knowing that we are going to invite somebody from mechanical, because I think there is a mechanical issue or two. So we'll leave it open to the tag. In fact, I would like to invite tag members. Please attend if you are interested in these code change proposals that we're going to talk about. And, recruit from the tag people, but the committee itself would be the tag chairs. That's my proposal moving forward.
I might have a comment on that. So, we do have proposals that touch the building code, fire code / mechanical code. So we know that is happening. And I think, we shouldn't exclude the MVPE committee from a correlation group that we form that is also going to touch on their proposals. I would just maybe offer that we form the committee with the tag chairs from the group one codes. So that would be the MVP tag, the building tag, international existing building code, the fire code, and the energy code. That way we touch all the stuff that we already have. And I think that we have the most appropriate people. Not that I think that Katie and Angela can't participate in that group, but their codes haven't had any proposals yet. And I don't necessarily know if they're the most appropriate people for the group one correlation work. And I think that Damon also has a point that, later on in our process, when we do the group two codes, there is a chance there might be some additional correlation that needs to happen on the group one codes. I'm not sure how that's looked in the past, but I think there is potential for it. Since some of the same, like, for example, family home child care has definitions in both the building code and the residential code. So if work has to happen in both of those codes, it is happening on different groups. And so maybe we correlate with group one what we have now, and then towards the end of this process, when we're getting ready to do CR 102 for the group two codes, we form another, maybe a little bit more robust correlation group where we're trusting that with the bulk of the correlation has occurred for group one, and then anything that crosses those groups gets handled by a group one / group two correlation group, where we bring the chairs from all the tags together to talk about it. And hopefully as we go through the tag process, we are earmarking specific proposals that might impact other codes. And I think that a strategy for that would be prudent, so if we have a proposal on, say, chapter 10 of the building code, that we automatically are going to review what that looks like in the fire code. And if we have smoke damper, smoke compartment stuff in the fire code, make sure that automatically goes to the mechanical code to make sure we're hitting those correlation topics. I think a little bit of strategy on which ones we're targeting and looking for, other than, because right now we pretty much relied on proposal proponents to say this impacts multiple codes. And so we have a couple proposals out there that weren't flagged like that by the proponent and are identified now by the people doing the work.
Yeah.
So that's just my suggestion on this.
It's a very good point, and I will take that suggestion and modify my proposed correlation committee to be Damon and I and any tag chairs for group one proposals. That's the committee. And I would anticipate that there will be a similar committee for group two that is formed by either Damon or I. Does that sound reasonable?
Yep, and I think that's the point, that there's flexibility so that the standing committees can determine the best path forward as needed. So
how does that get? I guess I would like to I would like that formalized in minutes. So I would make a motion to form a group one correlation committee. I think
well,
I'm
Roger, if I may interrupt, I think the action for the executive committee might just be that is a motion to, if you'd like, to have the standing committees form this co-correlation committee.
Okay, so which meeting will capture the minutes of when I actually form and define that?
BRFW, in my opinion.
So
although you could do it now, I guess. I guess to your point, there's no reason you can't do that right now if you'd like. So
that's why I kind of figured at this meeting, I thought about the BFRW doesn't necessarily make sense. Damon's not going to be at that.
okay.
The council meeting, I kind of feel like, because it's so I would like to make a motion that according to the special council committees section of our bylaws, that we form a group one correlation committee. Those committee members will include myself as the BFRW standing committee chair, Damon as the MVPE standing committee chair, and the tag chairs for all of the group one proposals, group one codes.
And may I offer the commercial energy code tag as well, since that was intended as part of group one, but it's slightly out of cycle?
So you could, and Roger, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but also I think, Damon, you should kind of weigh in on whether that falls under the MVPE, but go ahead, Roger, what's your?
No, I was finished with my motion. So I guess I would be looking for a second and then we can discuss that.
Second.
Okay. So
Okay, then now any other discussion? Yeah.
I did not include the energy code tag, although Damon, I would ask you, I've not been keeping up on the schedule of where that is. So
If it's up to date and it's group one, then it should be included.
okay, I'll take that as a friendly amendment that it includes. That is included. I didn't name all of the group one tags, but it is understood that that is included.
Okay.
So that I understand the motion that I seconded. Roger, you moved that we form a committee with you and I and all tag chairs for group one to look at code correlation.
Yes,
Okay. That was a lot fewer words, so.
thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion then? Okay, let's take a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
Damon, I'm
So-
also trying to learn on how to make motions in a succinct way, and it's a process.
Just send me a
Okay.
page. I'll distill it down to a sentence for you.
Okay, then with your votes, we have formed a group one code correlation committee. Okay, thank you for that. Now we're gonna move on to agenda item 6.
Mr.
which
Chair,
is-
real quick,
Yeah.
a chair for that committee, should we vote on that here or take that to the council meeting this Friday?
Why do we let?
Well,
them-
I think, well, maybe it was implied, but Roger was forming that since we were talking about the need of the BRFW, but that was under his authority as the standing chair committee, but
Yeah, my thought is that I would chair it and Damon would be the co-chair.
well, that's easier than co-chairs. Okay, 2 standing committee chairs are co-chairs. Is that everyone's
That works.
understanding? Okay, good. Okay, item 6 is our Senate Bill 5747. The legislative committee has directed and asked Jay, thank you, to testify tomorrow morning. Jay, do you want to speak a little bit to this? And
Sure. This was a late breaking bill, Senate Bill 5747, which was dropped last Wednesday. The legislative committee considered it on Thursday. It'll be up for public hearing tomorrow. And so we had a brief discussion during the legislative committee, but wanted to continue the discussion here given the tight timeline. This bill allows for any of the last 4 building and energy codes to be used for certain projects. And the recommendation of the legislative committee is that we testify as other with some concerns. The concerns that I was proposing in my testimony would be first to inform about the multiple codes that SBCC does beyond building and energy codes, and how the work involved in maintaining those over time would increase our workload. That we have an issue with the code revisor's office that currently we're only able to support a single version of the code, and this would require a complete reorganization of the code under the RCW, and that we have concerns given some of the lack of precision in the bill with those codes about mixing and matching and potentially using combinations of different versions of the building and energy and other codes that the SBCC or the tags that develop those codes never considered, and wanted to get some feedback. There were a number of other issues that the legislative committee discussed during about this bill, but those were things that impacted cities or building officials too, that are probably more appropriate for others to bring up.
thank you. So there's a slight correction there. I think you said codes under RCW and you meant ours under WAC, but
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Damon.
Yeah, just real quick, I have to step away for a few moments, but I support everything that Jay mentioned. I just want to be sure that that we're testifying as other, we're not taking a position on the bill.
Correct.
And secondly, that we're just relying on the facts. We're just there to share technical expertise per se. So
Yes, that is the role. And in addition, Dustin will be there also to offer testimony and provide some appropriate detail to anything that I say. I'm trying to keep as I'm drafting my testimony, keep it very high level.
thank you.
And Great. And just so everybody knows, I will already be in Olympia tomorrow as part of the Association of Washington Cities. So I'm happy to testify in person, which
Yeah.
hopefully will have some more impact with the Senate Housing Committee.
And thank you for doing that, Jay. And Damon, just to remind everyone, we wouldn't sign in pro or con unless it was a full council action to take a position on it. So, and then this came to the executive committee to have another forum to talk about it, but also because the legislative committee took action to ask that we pass this one more time and have this discussion. So that's what we're doing today. So thank you, Jay, for doing that. Anything else on that? Okay, is that at 10:30 tomorrow, Jay? I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If no, we have that we would take committee action, but I'm not sure it's necessary unless we were to change something that the legislative committee has already directed. So, okay. With that, we'll close 6 and then move on to agenda item 7, which is a review of the standing committee assignments, please. And I think this came up just to clarify, as we've had some positions move around on the council. We just want to make sure everyone understands what the formation of the standing committee. So that would be
All right.
There we go. Thank you.
Yep. So on this one, below each group, we don't have the full membership of the tags displayed out here because it's more the council members' participation in all the groups. It's a little bit of a concern at the moment, or not concern, but there's some small hiccups. And so below each group, we have from the bylaws the way each group is supposed to be made up. And so I'll start off with the building code tag. We have Todd Bayruther and Roger Haringa as the chair alternate. And looking at the bylaws, there's no reason why, Todd, you can't continue to serve as that tag chair as also the council chair. And
Dustin, I'll just note on that, sorry to interrupt, that we're substantially done, right? So it would only be if the tag was called on for additional work,
right.
But.
And so I don't see there needing to be any modifications to this group. For the fire code tag, that would remain the same, no issue there. With the energy code commercial technical advisory group, our chair alternate, Roger, I'll pause for you.
I am going to request to be taken off of the alternate on the fire code tag. This can happen whenever it is appropriate, Dustin. I was the alternate before Dan was on, so I kind of got that committee going with my movement work on the building code tag, the BFRW, and the single exit multiplex. I would prefer to step back out of the fire code tag. So I'm fine being there until that position can be filled. But if we could get that on our to-do list.
Maybe at the council meeting this Friday, we can bring this up and call for volunteer for that position.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, because these chairs and alternates are determined by the council, that we could take action to make any changes as a full council.
Okay. So for that one, we'll bring that one to the council as well. For the energy code commercial tag, our chair alternate, that council member at some point in December has passed away, and the seat is vacant within the council. And so his other positions throughout the different committees that we have established is also vacant. So this is one we would need to also ask for a new alternate at the council meeting.
Okay.
All right. Getting into the energy code residential tag, that one is sitting okay with council membership. With the residential tag, we're looking okay there. With the wildland urban interface code tag, we're also looking good. Same for the MVP tag. and also the single exits and multiplex housing tag. And just before I get into the committees proper, is there any more we should talk about on the council membership of the tag chairs?
I guess the question is how important is this to do this on Friday, or should we wait till March when we have certainty on
Council
reappointments and
membership in
appointments by
general?
the
Maybe it
governor?
would be best to hold off until we get confirmation from the governor's office on what the council membership looks like.
And just to remind everyone, I believe under new state law, the governor has 60 days from
90 days. Or no, you're correct. 60 days to appoint, but the seat.
to appoint, and the seat goes vacant in 90 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll bring this to the March meeting if we have word from the governor, or push it out to April potentially. But the tags I think are functioning as is with the membership. I just have issues as identified there.
Okay, thanks.
So then we get to the BFRW committee. These committees have been designed at 7 members in the past to avoid generating a quorum of the council. So the BFRW codes committee includes the council chair and chairs of the building code tag, the fire code tag, the residential code tag, and the WUI code tag. So as such, Todd, your name occupies this one twice. And I don't think there's an issue with you representing the building code tag chair at these meetings, since you were there for those meetings. But I think we should remove, just put the building code tags chair underneath your name up there, and bring in another council member at large at the bottom to keep the group at 7.
Okay, and then also this is something that we'll probably adjust when
we have better direction on council membership.
Right. Go ahead, Roger.
I pulled up the bylaws. The number 7 was a maximum, a cap. The actual bylaws just say that the BFRW committee shall include the chairs of the building, fire, residential, and WUI tags. I can look. I don't believe that it even says it has to include the chair of the council chair. So actually, I'm looking at another.
It's a good point, Roger. If I knew that at one time, I had forgotten it, that the council chair was part of that, and so
Yeah, it looks to me like I can't find anywhere where it says that the council chair has to be part of that. That can be, but it just as we form this, it has to include the tag chairs. And then I think that we can fill it, and yes, we did limit it to 7 so that we don't have a quorum of the council.
Okay, does anyone have any input on this? I mean,
I would agree with what Roger's characterized. There's no maximum number except for avoiding the quorum for the council. No minimum number except for the specific seats that are pointed out in the bylaws. And that doesn't include the council chair. It's just the chairs of each of the tags that are underneath that code.
go ahead, Krista.
The duties of officers, the chair shall preside at all meetings of the council and shall have all powers and duties conferred by law. The chair shall also serve as chair of the executive committee and as a voting member of each council's standing committee.
There it is. Thank you, Krista.
Then I retract.
I do remember that now you say that. So okay.
So it does require the chair, but not a maximum of, or
Yeah.
not a specific number beyond that.
Okay.
I would, so my suggestion is yes, Todd should be, he's taking up 2 spots. And then I think that we would leave it open to any other council members that would like to be part of that. since Craig's not going to be there. And then you're suggesting that this won't officially happen until, will this conversation not happen until March?
Unless we feel it needs to, but
Well, I think the bylaws just characterize who's on there. So since Craig is a council member at large, there's no need to immediately fill that spot, and the committee can run as normal without any modifications at this point.
okay.
And then looking at the Mechanical, Ventilation, Plumbing, and Energy Codes Committee, no issues identified there, but we do have 3 council members at large on that one. I think mainly just to round it out, but no need to modify as a result of any membership changes.
Well, no, we've appointed, the council did.
Well, yes, I have Jay as, or sorry, that is Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was action taken in January, if everyone
Yes.
remembers.
And then the Legislative Committee sits as follows. And I don't see any need to modify that. Tom Handy was reappointed as the chair of that committee in January, and everything else is okay per the elections in January in there. And then we have the Executive Committee in here today. I don't have any need to change any of these, and so I guess with what we've looked at so far, just the tag chair membership needs to be addressed once we know for sure what the council membership looks like when we hear back from the governor's office.
Okay. So unless anyone thinks there needs to be action, I think that was the purpose, was to review this. And we do have this for public comment. If there's any, please raise your hand if anyone would like to add anything to this conversation. Okay. Anything else?
Not on that
Thank you for
one.
that, Dustin.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll close item 7 and move on to then agenda item 8, additional tag applications. Just as a reminder here, I believe we did change our policy and procedures on that either the council or the executive committee can approve tag applications, but our process has been that the staff makes a recommendation, and then the tag chairs make their recommendations. And then if anything is contested at the executive or the council level, then we had, like we did in January, and we can have that discussion. And so I guess, do we want to review any new applicants? We've populated some of the group 2, and this is now just adding new members.
Yes. Well, so I want to clarify that any tag seats that are still open for group 1 or group 2, we're still accepting applications. Intent of staff is to, as those applications come in, to bring those new applications to either the executive committee or the council meetings. Those are well spaced out so that about almost every 2 weeks we're having a meeting where we could bring new people to those seats officially. I would also welcome anybody who's made an application and we haven't had a chance to make those appointments, to encourage them to attend the meetings. There's no reason they can't attend, even if they don't have a seat. But so with that in mind, the first application I want to review is one for our Group 1 codes for the International Fire Code tag, and this one's for Patrick Hanks. He's with BIAW, and he's applied for the alternate seat of the home builders within that tag, and that is vacant, and we don't have any other applications there. And so that's coming with a recommendation from staff to appoint him as the alternate there. And I'm pulling up his application now as we speak. I'm just struggling with it just a little bit. There we go. All right, so you should be seeing Patrick's application. And there's nothing quite crazy there. Let me pull up also his letters of recommendation and his resume.
And while you're doing that, Dustin, I guess we'll ask the executive committee, do you want to take action on this today as allowed, or do you want to move these decisions to the full council? Go ahead, Jay.
First, a question. We discussed this at the council meeting in January, and just wondering if there's any new information or if this is just coming back to us because some period of time has elapsed and we haven't gotten other applications.
These are new applicants, to my understanding. So we
Yeah.
populated what we could in January as a full council. Now we're adding additional members. Go ahead, Dustin.
But the discussion in January that I recall was that we did consider Patrick as an alternate for one of the positions. I don't remember if it was IFC or not, and just wanting to know, is this a new question or are we revisiting?
This is a new question. So in January, we have application from Patrick for some other Group 2 tags, and he's been appointed appropriately within those. Also, we have his application for the fire code tag. It was on our January agenda. We just got excited and moved beyond the agenda topic before addressing his application. And so this one's a new question for us to consider here, that he would be appropriate for the fire code tag moving forward. And he's got his hand up now as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say I tried recruiting a lot of new folks and some returning folks to get involved with the tags, and I tried prioritizing those with home building experience for the home builder spot where possible, but I knew that there was a vacancy on this tag, but that also most of the work of the tag was over. But I do know that sometimes the standing committees can refer issues back down to the tags for consulting. So I just wanted to make sure that the home building industry was represented on this tag. So I applied for the alternate spot to fill that in the event that they need to meet on anything. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Roger.
So can I get clarity from either Patrick or Dustin what other tags Patrick is on? Because I'm confused. I remember we talked about it in January too, and
all right, so let me update my share quick.
And then I have one other question for Patrick. So
okay, I don't have it memorized. I'm gonna have to just scan real quick for Patrick. And Patrick, if you know off the top of your head, I'll scroll down to him. We should be seeing. So I've got him for the international residential code tag as our primary in the home builders spot.
I think I'm on the residential tag, the residential energy code tag, and the WUI tag.
Yep.
So this will be your fourth tag.
Yes.
Okay. My question, and Patrick, this is directly to you. I have all the respect in the world for you and your participation. The concern I have, while you are not I just want to ask the question and get it out there on the table. You are not a paid, what's the word that's escaping me now? Your paid position is not to, there's a word that's escaping me, to move bills along. Do you know what I'm talking about, Patrick?
Lobbyist.
Lobbyist, that's the word. Thank you. I guess now that I have the word, I'll clarify my question. Are you a paid lobbyist, number one? Number two, and related is, you know, we are asking, the tags are technical advisory groups, not policy. They are not supposed to be policy and or, you know, policy related. So in your role on 4 different tags, are you there as a technical representative and or are you there to influence policy? I guess that's my direct question.
Thank you. I am not a registered lobbyist. I do not do any lobbying. So I don't work on lobbying in my professional job. And then so when I apply for a tag, I apply on behalf of BIW generally, representing, so I'll be providing technical input that I hear from our members. But then also, like, for when I've applied and been put on the general public or subject matter expert spot, my experience goes beyond just code. So I also bring in experience when it comes to understanding regulatory compliance and those things, which I feel like is a helpful perspective to have on these tag members. But my goal is to, just like every other tag members, provide technical input on code proposals and changes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. To keep this moving, do we want to do these individually? I think we only have a handful, so.
So we can bundle Patrick in with the rest of them for group 2 as well. The stuff that was published on the website for the remaining group 2 applications that we're looking at today show some highlighted sections. For all of these, I don't have any competing applications to bring forward except for 1 slot. And so for the International Residential Code tag, I am showing Justin Carvalho coming with a letter of recommendation for the fire services representative seat, and the recommendation from the staff is as the alternate. And I did get word from Angela Haupt that she is supportive of the staff recommendation for these 2 appointments here. The second one in the residential code tag seat is for general public / subject matter expert. We have Leah Summer, who is also a member of the building code tag, looking for the, and so we have her for the alternate as well. And so those are both supported additions by Angela Haupt. For the single exit multiplex tag seat, we have 2 applications for the same seat, and we have John Hall and Joe Mayo. Joe Mayo is a participant on the International Building Code tag, and I did hear some comments that we might want to flip-flop John Hall as the primary and keep Joe as the alternate.
If I can speak to that, Dustin?
Yes.
As the chair, I know Joe, he's been participating on tags. I know John professionally. He and I can give a verbal recommendation to him. He works in the multifamily space all the time. I think both of them will be very beneficial in helping us through the single exit multiplex conversations. My recommendation would be to put John as the primary and Joe as the alternate. And I base that on, I have every confidence that Joe will stay engaged and involved. John is new to the tag process. I think having him as the primary will help him both get engaged and stay engaged throughout the process. So that was my recommendation, is just to flip the primary and the alternate.
And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And then I'll add that I did talk to Joe, and I think he's okay with that also, and he would support that. I believe John probably has more multifamily background. Is that correct, Roger?
That is, yeah, he's very into the multifamily.
Okay.
That is what he does. So.
Okay. Dustin, is it easy to flip those on there, or is this a PDF?
This one's a PDF. I can open up
Okay.
the Word document real quick. Just give me one moment. I'm making some notes here. All right, stopping that. And okay, got the share back up. So we've gone over Justin and Leah, and then John and Joe.
And then I have been reaching out and do have some other applicants that I think will apply this week, but in the low income housing and property manager roles there.
I'm trying to recruit structural engineers for a number of them that are blank.
Okay.
And as we're doing this, I guess, you know, I'm thinking maybe we should hold an agenda item on Friday in case we can persuade some of those applicants to submit this week.
Okay, so if we're gonna do a motion for all of these, it'll be the stuff on the right-hand side and highlighted is the format we're looking at. And then for the WooeyCat code, I have Chris Vaccaro as an alternate to the building official seat. And then also Shane Nillis as the primary for the manufacturer / supplier seat. And then I see we have the chair of that tag on the call today.
Hi, thanks, Dustin. I looked over these. I think Shane looks great. Chris looks good too. Since we're sort of looking for seats, I don't know if this is appropriate. Could he go down to planning city? Because in his resume he just mentions that he's reviewing planning documents. I don't know. I'm just trying to, like, we're not getting the or maybe that's just a possibility if by the end we're looking at kind of a tag that is pretty sparse. Been reaching out to people and waiting to hear back, but
Katie, there may be an applicant coming on the planning one if you'd like to review that one also.
yeah, that would be
before we
great.
make that move. Okay.
Okay, that sounds great. In that case, I think this looks good. And I apologize. I have to leave now for another meeting, but just dropped in just perfectly.
Perfect timing. Thank you for joining.
This never happens. So thank you so much, Dustin, for putting this together.
You're welcome. So just so I'm clear, Katie, are we gonna do you want to hold off on appointing Chris as an alternate in that seat until we can review him against another planning applicant potentially?
Or we could confirm him as the alt and then always
We
and
can
then
move
move him if
around.
we need to.
move him if
Yeah,
needed.
that-
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Katie.
you, Katie.
All right. So the only difference in what was posted online for these is here in the single exit multiplex tag where we flip-flopped the applicants in the same seat. Other than that, the recommendations were as posted online. And then we're also not shown on this seat is the fire tag for alternate of the home builder's seat for Patrick Hanks. And so I would I guess ask the chair, we can do all together or we can do separated. I'll leave it up to you.
Yep. Is there any other changes you'd like to see, Roger?
I was just going to make a motion that we approve all the changes presented in
Okay.
one motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, so it's been moved a second for all the names on the screen and for Patrick Hanks as the IFC. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just one comment for the record. Patrick, I really appreciate your time and willingness to be involved in so much of our work. And the tags are a special kind of commitment there. And just wanted to say, I normally would have some concerns of one person being involved across multiple tags, but I also get, given the workload of the tags, that it's hard to get home builders that are active in their field to commit this much time. And I get the importance of having that representation on the fire tag if needed. So I'm looking at this as an exception, but we'll be supporting the appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Any other comment? Okay. It's been moved a second to approve as shown on the screen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Go ahead, Krista.
While we're still on this subject, and kind of going back to Patrick, just an FYI, the lone home builders representative on the mechanical, ventilation, and plumbing codes tag did resign last week. So we do need another representative there, and we will continue to recruit for that one.
Then we can, those are approved, and we're going to close item 8. So agenda item 9 is the energy code tags request. I'll lead into this, and then Dustin, maybe you and Krista can pick up. So again, we talked a little bit at the beginning of this. What this is a specific petition that came to the energy code commercial by Greg Johnson, and Greg has joined us today. Greg and I had a chance to prepare a little bit earlier. And at the Friday meeting, if I listened into this, there was a specific action by the tag to request for the full council to give some guidance on site versus source basis for the calculations within the commercial code. So my intent here to put this on the agenda, so maybe what the intent is not to go deep dive into the merits of that proposal at this meeting, but rather to give guidance to the council, perhaps starting on Friday. And that's why this is right before the agenda item on 10, where we're going to collectively talk through the agenda for Friday. What I envision we could do is we could have the proponent kind of address either this body or address the full council on Friday, and then have the council give direction on process and on how to consider this type of issue. I'll recognize Greg in a second here, but again, this is a deep topic. And we are seeing petitions in the energy code as expected that some are full, strikers to the energy code, and then proposing adoption of a different code as a base, as the underlying basis. This one in particular addresses the very specific issue of site versus source basis, and I think there are multiple pathways on how we could do this. The other thing on Friday is I don't believe it's our intent, but we should discuss. We're not intending to get into the deep merits of this and have 2 to 3 hours of public comment on the content yet. But I think there could be value if it's the desire of this executive committee or of the council, to hear this petition from the proponent and or at the council meeting or at the standing committee, have a workshop to raise this issue. So, but Greg, before I go to you, Dustin, or Krista, is there anything I misspoke on there and on the action on Friday?
I would defer to Krista.
I don't think so.
Okay. With that, then, Greg, thank you for joining us. Is there anything you'd like to do to help us understand this better and set this up?
Yeah, I would just like to frame that the proposal or the motion at the tag to send this to full council passed unanimously. I mean, there's like 3 abstentions, I believe, but so the tag overwhelmingly voted saying, yes, the council needs to make this decision. This decision is a highly technical decision, and there's a lot of passionate on both sides of what people view. And so my ask would be of the councils to allow adequate time for people to weigh in too, so you guys have all the info. And so, I mean, I would be happy and I would like to provide a presentation, which I would be focused more on the technical, on informing. So that way you had all the info to make the decision. And I assume there may be others who want to submit info also on the decision too. And I think as Todd and I talked, we probably need Derek, Assistant Attorney General, to also weigh in too on some of the legal aspects. And I'm happy to answer questions. And if it's the council's wishes, I would be happy to provide a presentation this Friday also. But I would suggest, even if I provide a presentation this Friday, I would suggest that you would allow notice and don't take action until the March, just so that way you can have everyone give feedback.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Damon, 1 second before you go. Dustin, are you able to pull up that petition? I know.
Yes.
I didn't flag it.
It'll take me a couple seconds, but I'll get
Okay. And Damon, why don't you go ahead while Dustin's pulling that up?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It looks like I jumped in on item 9. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're just coming back to us, we're discussing potential pathways for consideration of this.
Perfect timing then. Yeah.
Okay.
As you know, I think this is the crux of any core dispute on the energy codes, be it commercial or residential. And I think this discussion is really important. I don't know that, quite frankly, Friday is enough time to prepare. Even though this is something I'd like to get answered, I think there would be a lot of public comment on it. And maybe Friday we touch on it and set it firm for the March meeting. I guess I'm just trying to stress the importance of site versus source, and how much that affects how our codes go forward. So I'd like to allow as much time to discuss it as possible.
So Damon, as we bring this up, that was my thought too. Is that Friday is too early to take action on this, and I think it's also too early to dive deep into hours of public comment with a full council. I think they asked here to the executive committee is, how do we tee this up to the full council on Friday to introduce it? And then what are the potential actions the council could take if it's their desire for further exploration? So I could imagine that is to direct the standing committee, which you're the chair of, to perhaps bring forward a workshop and or hearing to make then recommendations back to the full council at the March meeting. I think that's one possibility, right? And I think then with that is the question of, if it's a workshop type format, which objective experts do we bring in to introduce the topic, in addition to having plenty of public input? And what is the format of all this? And so as you're looking at this petition in front of you here, one of the things I'll say that when I listened in and I was going back and forth between BRFW is I think, Greg, you think you made the comment, that this was submitted as a petition, because if not as a petition, what is the proper pathway for consideration of this? Of course, a legislative mandate would be one, but what other format would there be for the council to, consider a kind of fundamental question such as this? So go ahead, Roger.
I thought that Jay was before me, but knowing my knowledge level right now on this, I have a very general understanding of it. My suggestion as far as what happens on Friday would be to have the issue outlined. So the suggestion would be potentially to have Greg present, here's why, just a presentation, not a discussion. Here's why what are the different, the site or Greg presenting, here's why it would make sense for us to use source, and have somebody else who would be prepared to say, here's why it makes sense to do site, and then outline the process. And that would be the limit of the agenda item for Friday, is have two people kind of saying, here's why this makes sense. Here's why somebody else saying, here's why option B makes sense. And then set our process for trying to come to a decision. That would, I think, be my goal. So what my suggestion is, because I know for me to make a decision, I need to be better educated. So.
Thank you, Roger. Jay?
I agree that we will need to set this up in a way that we're bringing the council up to speed. I think Friday is too early for any presentations. I think our work Friday should just be talking about how we tee this up. One of the suggestions that I might have is if we could work with somebody like PNNL, who had done some of the evaluation of the energy code previously, to talk about the implications of such a change, because they've had to work with these calculations and might be able to help in that background. One of the things that we might consider as a council is saying how much of this work happens during our regular business meetings, which seem to get stretched anyway, versus I like your comment, Todd, about a workshop or something else that gets scheduled separately that we can focus on this and get up to speed. I do think it's going to be important to have some technical expertise on this that is not advocating for a position, to provide some background before as we go into this, because this will be something that I think we would get some significant public comment on, and would want to also enable that to happen, which may be best handled in a public hearing separate from our regular business hearings as well. So I think we're going to have a lot with this question to consider, and would want to think about how we can do this on a parallel track to our business meetings. And I think that discussion of how we want to do it would be good to tee up for the council meeting on Friday.
Jay, follow-up question there. Then would one scenario be to direct the standing committee? Do you have an opinion on that to conduct the workshop? Or do you feel it should be a full council?
I think this is going to be a significant enough of an issue that the full council is going to have to decide. And even if the committee had a recommendation, I think this is something the full council will need to deliberate on. And So I think we need to have some mechanisms for council members to dive deep.
So that potentially would be a special meeting of the full council only to workshop this item, potentially.
Potentially, yep.
Okay, thank you. Damon?
I have two comments, but I want to proceed it with a question. Dustin, looking forward to the March meeting, are there any large topics that are going to fall around that time?
At this moment, just what we're talking about right now.
Cool. So the whole March meeting's this. All right. 2 points. One, I do like the aspect of asking for weigh-in by PNNL, and they're one of the most respected laboratories in the nation. I can tell you that Energy Star and DOE all focus on, well, Energy Star is part of the Department of Energy, but there's written statements out there that they focus on source energy and the reasons why. So I don't know how PNNL would be active. I know that they're typically on most of our meetings. I'm looking through the name list here to see if Kevin Rose or anybody's on. I think he was on earlier. At the end of the day, it's really a simple question. So presented with data, I think the council can decide. I don't know that a couple-hour workshop prior to the council meeting is going to do anything but just regurgitate the information. So I think we introduce the discussion at Friday's meeting and put some sort of announcement out to the public that this is on the March agenda, and simply dedicate an hour in March to taking care of it. It shouldn't go longer than that. The question at the end of the day is very simple. So that would be my suggestion.
So Damon, in that scenario, is would it be significant? Would it be sufficient enough if we put this out on Friday and to get written testimony in the month leading up to the March meeting, and then also take oral testimony in March?
That is my thinking.
And then take action. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. The question is really simple at the end of the day. You just got to weigh the data on both sides.
Okay. Greg, back to the proponent, please.
I just wanted to clarify, I'm not going to advocate for one versus the other. I think it'd be more appropriate for me just to present data from all sides of the facts. I mean, you might ascertain or have an inkling of thoughts that I have, but I mean, I'm a technical expert, and I think it'd be more appropriate for me just to present raw data and facts and do that, because I have experience both designing buildings and doing the utilities and designing utility systems. And so I was just going to bring a collection of data, not just from a Vista service territory, but for the whole state of Washington, and actually talk through what actually happens on a technical standpoint. So I just want to clarify that my focus is going to be more providing you guys the information, not advocating for one or the other.
Thank you, Greg. Krista, please.
Just as a heads up, at this time, PNNL as a federal agency is prohibited from joining in a public forum meeting. They can provide some information outside of a public meeting, but they cannot participate in a public meeting. And don't know how long that will be going on, but I would expect that to continue for a while.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you, Krista. Damon?
Krista, do you think it would be beneficial for us to ask them for an opinion? Just simply ask the question, or ask them to cite the difference between site energy versus source energy? Is that something that's valuable?
We could probably look at doing that, yes.
Okay. Let me see if I can phrase the question and then send it to this group to pick up on Friday.
Okay, and I think that could be part of the discussion today or on Friday of what experts we'd like to invite, and whether it's in what format. If there is a little bit of a workshop format of objective representatives and then obviously still take public testimony. Okay, so I think that frames it. I think the question here, and we do have this marked for public comment. So we'll do that carefully, but today we're discussing the process and the pathways. Again, we're not getting deep into the merits of the proposal today, please. So with that, would anyone from the public like to join us and give their opinion on this pathway we're discussing? Go ahead, Patrick.
Yes, thank you. Patrick Hanks with BIW. Really appreciate the committee discussing this and the tag for moving this forward. This is a very important discussion. Right now, the energy code doesn't really fully factor in source energy, and because of that, it doesn't really have a completely accurate way of fully assessing the energy efficiency of the built environment in the state. So we think this is a really important discussion to keep having, and we appreciate that you're factoring in considerations for the people presenting to have time to prepare and the public to have time to be involved. So we approve of the timeline that's been discussed and think that would be really good. Thank you.
Elizabeth.
Thank you. This is Elizabeth Torsky with Cascade Natural Gas. I would just like to emphasize again what other folks are saying. The energy codes we're spending a lot of time debating this issue, and so for the council to provide guidance and some guardrails on decisions going forward while we're amending code would be extraordinarily helpful. It would end a lot of debate just to have clarity on this issue, whether it's site or source. I think it just gives our work a lot more focus. So I appreciate the council's consideration of this proposal.
Thank you, Elizabeth. One other question as we're waiting for any other hands I have is, who would be the best representative to talk about the policy side of what the state has done with CETA and other legislation, and how that balances into code rulemaking versus policy making at the legislature level? And doesn't even answer right now. I just want to pose that question. How does this relate to CETA? How does this relate to Clean Buildings Act, so forth?
I wonder
Go ahead,
if
Roger.
Luke Howard might be a resource on that.
With whom, Dan?
With DES.
Yes, okay. Go
He's
ahead, Roger.
with Commerce and the Energy Policy Office there.
Thank you, Krista. You're correct. The minute you said that, I realized I was wrong.
Go ahead, Roger.
Well, I think, Todd, that some of the questions I will have are, you know, what have we done with the past energy codes and why? And if this is a change, why are we changing now? And I think that conversation, you know, we need to have that conversation, fine. And I certainly understand having the full council make the decision one way or the other is certainly the best way to move forward. I think, Todd, my suggestion, getting to, maybe this is item 10, but I would suggest that there is council action only for the agenda item. I would like the issue presented in some manner, and if Greg is the right person, I just am a little bit hesitant if there are people that don't believe that it's the right thing to do. If we are presenting the Greg, I understand you can present data. I just am wondering if we should have, that was why I go back to having two people do the presentation, but try to set the stage so that people can understand the question and then decide on the process. But I do think not allowing it open for public comment on Friday, because I think our conversation is about process, and the public comment will occur either throughout the next month or at the March meeting. So I'm still a little bit I have questions. I do think it's important for us to pose the question. And maybe the right thing to do is between Greg and I would loop Chell in as the chair of the energy tag. What is the best way to present the question at hand to the full council on Friday? And then the rest of the conversation on Friday is about what process are we going to do to allow public comment.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Okay, Greg, let's hear from you, and then we'll have to move into setting our agenda for Friday. Go ahead, Greg.
Oh, I just want to say you had an excellent suggestion, Roger. What if it's just I give a presentation and Chell gives a presentation, and then that would be a fair way to do that. So I think I love that idea. And I just want to clarify, we're not necessarily changing the basis because the energy code is not consistent. It uses different bases throughout the code. Now, the majority of the basis might be the same, but there's areas that I can point to where we actually we change the basis. And so a lot of this was actually requiring consistency on whatever we're going to pick. We got to be consistent.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Go ahead, David. You're muted, David.
I have both a strong opinion and some factual data on this topic. And while in fact, a lot of my data comes from Greg. I'd like to have Greg's input. I don't want to be limited to where I'm not part of this discussion. I think I have some relevant stuff to present as well. So I would not be in favor of just limiting it to 2 presenters.
And Roger, when you say 2 presenters, are you referring to the March timeframe, or?
No. I was saying on the meeting on Friday, and
to introduce
and Damon, my bigger question is if we open it up to the public, we can be there for hours, and I think the forum for the public comment is either the next month and or the March meeting, and we can decide about that. I was going to suggest that it is open for council comment only. But I guess what I would, if Greg is prepared, if Chell can be prepared as well, and we would have to ask him, we want to understand what the question is. I wasn't necessarily suggesting that we would not have council comment or questions asked. So
I think we're starting to overlap with 10, which is good as we close out here. But on concluding 9, I think the question is, what do we want to see on Friday? And Roger, another way to interpret what I think you're saying is there a workshop element on Friday where this subject is introduced to the council, and we're not necessarily taking action, but we are setting then for a month later in the March council meeting to have then the public input, obviously written input for that whole month, the oral input at that meeting, and then potential action.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, the main action on Friday is to set the process that we're going to follow. But I think that we need to state the question, understand the question.
Okay.
I was going to comment on the same thing. I think Friday we frame the question, and then we proceed to the following month.
And does that include a subject matter expert presenting
on Friday or the following?
Yeah, on Friday.
I don't think that it necessarily does. We're just framing the question.
Okay. Any other input on that? Okay. Well, let's then move into, let's close agenda item 9. Thank you. We're not taking action necessarily on that today, because we're moving into item 10, which is the action of setting our agenda. Okay. Now, we haven't done this in the past, but I think it's important that we prepare our agenda for the council meeting on Friday. And do we have a draft, Dustin? I guess I didn't.
I do have a draft. It's essentially blank. I have
some
topic that we haven't discussed today's meeting intended for that council meeting, which is a local amendment portion.
Okay.
And so give me a
Okay.
moment, to pull up the blank draft for us to mess with.
I think this was the key item that we wanted to make sure that executive committee weighed in on.
Todd, I would just ask maybe at the welcome at the meeting that we officially recognize Craig Holt, his contribution. So whether that's just as the welcome or doesn't have to be an agenda item.
Agreed. And they're having a couple of emails, and that is the intent. So thank you for raising that. Go ahead, Damon.
If we're establishing an agenda, should we set aside time for any executive session regarding the outcome of Friday's hearing?
Yeah, I'll lean on Dustin and Derek, but I assumed that was potentially coming.
So I haven't had other than a brief message from our legal team. I haven't had a lot of communication on what their desire is, but if we want to have a executive session on that one, we can pencil it in, and I can make sure that we have that staff there as well.
And then if so, do we stick with our current practice of doing that during the 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock period, or do we propose that starts earlier at 9? I think it's fine that we've all blocked out schedules for 10, but just wanted to raise that question. Go ahead, Damon.
I think the summary is going to be short enough that we could do it between the 10-2 period.
Okay.
Set aside.
The other item, we don't necessarily, Dustin, you're showing your screen, we're only seeing a small part of it, but
sorry.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, on the executive session, if it's just an update, given the dismissal of the one case, maybe that would be at the end so that folks that are wanting to attend the meeting and contribute to it could have the business items at the beginning.
Okay.
If there's not, unless Derek says that there's action that the council has to take after the executive session, we may want to put it at the end.
Okay. And that'll just be a question, Derek, then I'm kind of balancing, obviously, the lawyer's time and so forth. Okay. So I'm hearing a potential executive session at the end before other business. This issue of the energy code tag, let's put that in, and then we'll try to create, kind of time certain to that. We're not opening up for lengthy public input on the merits of it. So I think if we put that up front, that's okay. The other item would be, let's leave an agenda item for potential tag approvals, appointments. If we get more applications, if we don't, we can skip that. And then the other item, we need a legislative update. And then I don't think there was any action on the code correlation committee. Let's have a standing committee update where we can briefly touch on the action taken here. Go ahead, Roger.
I don't know if this needs to be an agenda at the meeting on Friday, but Dustin, I need to start having some conversations with you about scheduling the single exit multiplex tag meetings and getting those going. So
Gotcha.
Again, I don't know that it needs to be on the agenda, but
Okay, what are we forgetting here? I know we're making you go fast, Dustin. Go ahead, Angela.
Sorry, can we have some sort of update on the 2066 verbiage that's going to be going up? As far as at the last meeting, we never got into a timeline, and I'm getting badgered a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. That's a good point. Yes, we do need to do that. So 2066 statement is what you mean, right? That we want to post on the website with our current actions and okay.
I think what we're looking for is a statement. There you go. We got it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Is the intent for that statement to be issued as a draft so we can review it before the meeting? Or I know there was talked about at the last meeting too, but I just know if we're going to sit at a council meeting trying to create a statement, that could take some time.
No, I agree. I think it should be, we should have a draft and just explain, you know, what the intent is, where it is on the website, so forth.
Okay.
In the interim, I've just been telling people to call Angela.
Might as well, that's what's happening.
Okay. Okay. I think we covered it.
Yeah. And I know this looks messy, but I got the topics there and
Yeah.
I'll clean it up.
We asked you to do it on the fly, so yeah. Any quick public comment on that before we adjourn?
And then we wanted to specifically not have comment on the energy code tag request.
Well, on the we'll just have to manage it. I mean, if
Okay.
there's public comment on the process, I mean, I think that should be welcome, but I'll leave it to this committee.
My preference would be just it's the council setting the process.
Okay.
But that's mine. If other people have other opinions, that's
Okay.
I trust the chair can handle that process. You know, we'll certainly take comment, but when it comes to the final, that we can manage the meeting.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do it that way then. Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you all. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank
Thanks.
you.